My name is Tim Leistikow. My candidate number is 12345. Today I will be talking about a Leistikow Giovanni poem, Patience. And in this poem, Giovanni uses visual sound and tactile imagery to create the tension one feels while waiting for something to change. The title becomes ironic because the speaker, or she, is left without a choice because the change she is waiting for does not arrive. A good place, in my opinion, to start when thinking about this poem is in the shift from line 11 to line 12. And the reason why is this. This poem is 6 stanzas long, I'm sorry, 23 lines long, comprised of 6 stanzas. But the shift from stanza 2 to stanza 3, which is line 11 to 12, is very significant. In the first 2 stanzas, which I'll go back and talk about the imagery that Giovanni creates, but in those first 2 stanzas, the imagery is more of a general observation of the world around. But moving into line 12, the start of the 3rd stanza, it becomes very specific to the situation the speaker, or she, finds herself in this poem. And so the reason that shift is important is that Giovanni is showing us that whatever we observe in the world, and she does a nice job in stanzas 1 and 2 of giving examples where things change and it's stressful, it's tense, but also relieving, showing that those things are these moments that are sort of universal, are just as powerful, or the moments that we have are just as powerful as universal moments when we shift into the imagery in stanzas 3, 4, 5, and 6. So let's take stanzas 1 and 2. The poem starts with just some wonderful oral, A-U-R-A-L, language that really connects to your ears. One thing that I notice is this repetition of S sounds. And so there are sounds which shatter the staleness of lives, transporting the shadows into the dreams. It's very soothing. So it's interesting flow that Giovanni creates to bring us into this poem. It almost feels like a relaxing mantra that will help you ease into whatever you're going through. Going to stanza 2, the raindrops falling on the leaves, which creates this amazing visual, tactile, and even smell-related imagery about wet leaves and just sort of that comfort that creates. And in both line 2 and in line 7, you can definitely fall, as I did, victim on my first reading, to sort of feeling the soothingness of the poem. But Giovanni uses a very violent word, shatter, to break us out of that. And I think that's her way of letting us know that, yes, waiting and being patient are all good things, but there is a violence that is created when you are caught in this standstill, when you're caught in this moment. And so in nature, it's this idea of shattering staleness, of shattering the dust, so raindrops are making things better. And so in the first 2 stanzas, this violence is actually a good thing. This shattering is a good thing, rather, that helps us to cope. But in that shift from line 11 to line 12, from stanza 2 to 3, there's a sense that although it's natural, although it's good, it's also a moment of tension. And so the first thing that Giovanni does to signal that tension is shift from these general statements about the world around us, which both stanzas 1 and 2 are sort of these overarching metaphors about what it means to transform and change. Then when we get into stanza 3, a very specific, really not even a metaphor anymore, it's exactly what's happening to the speaker of the poem. We're told that she is waiting for him. And although there certainly are different ways we could interpret him, so is it a lover, is it a father figure, a child, whatever it is, it's somebody, as we're told in the next line, that can take away the quiet. So in nature, when we have the quietness taken away, it's a relief, but it's very violent because it's kind of shattering the world we live in. And so it's almost as if living in this patient sort of standstill creates tension that when it's broken is very dramatic and tense. As we move into stanza 5, we have another simile that kind of speaks to that larger metaphor of transformation. In this case, very specifically, Giovanni alludes to a slave woman, which, this poem is definitely following in the work of Giovanni, that it examines identity and how we create who we are. Also specifically, not in this poem as much, but with the reference to a slave woman, Giovanni is very much concerned with the lives of African Americans, specifically African American women, and the unique experience that they have. And so whether or not this poem is about an African American woman, clearly the speaker of the poem, the she, is being connected or compared to an African American, in this case a slave woman, which doesn't say African American slave, but here I think based on Giovanni's work we can make the assumption that she's referring to American slavery, which would be of Africans. Anyway, she talks about comparing waiting for the call of him to the patience of a slave woman quilting, which is interesting because a slave woman has no choice. It's not like she's quilting out of a love of quilting. She is not free. She does not have the ability to leave, so that it's this idea of persevering and making the best of what you can. And then compares it to a Jewish mother simmering chicken broth. And I think it's interesting that Giovanni uses the word simmering. It's not boiling. It's something that's sort of bubbling, but not as explosive. And so again, it's this idea of in nature, changes are very dramatic and sudden, even violent, and leading to better things. And for her, the speaker, the she is not able to raise to that level of tension because she's caught somewhere in the middle, a slave woman who doesn't have any chance at freedom or this simmering broth. There would be no other sound than his voice to shatter the quiet of her heart. So now we have a direct reference to